This is Yuji Itadori, the main character of Jujutsu Kaisen, who is entering demon time to destroy Sukuna. But what exactly is going to happen once he unveils his new transformation? When we first meet Yuji, our main character quickly becomes much more powerful. But as the story moves forward, we forget about him because of people like Gojo and Sukuna. Until his master dies and he jumps into the fight against the strongest sorcerer in history. And in this video, I'm going to give you several theories going from the simplest one to the most insane one.
領域展開
Right after Kashimo is killed, Yuji Itadori and Higuruma immediately jump into the fight. Check this out. On the last panel of chapter 238, you can tell that Yuji's arms look completely different from how he usually looks. Here, you can tell that his hand is covered in something that looks like armor, and that his nails are extremely sharp and long. What I mean is that they basically look like gauntlets with something like a fin covering the top, as well as a darker and fleshier looking part at the bottom. All this to say that basically it's looking a whole lot like a curse or some sort of creature. And this transformation is going to be insane for a few reasons. Number one is that Yuji is the main character and he hasn't done much in a while. So if there's a moment for him to do something impressive and take the spotlight, it's now. Number two is that he's definitely not as strong as many of the other characters. I mean, there's a good reason Sukuna literally asked what the heck he's doing there. Because compared to Gojo and even Kashimo, we don't expect Yuji to be a big threat to Sukuna whatsoever. And there are currently amazing theories out there showing exactly what this transformation might do. And a lot of them definitely make sense. So have a look at this. All the way back in chapter 12, Gojo said that eventually Yuji's body would learn Sukuna's curse technique. Which means that the reason Yuji is transforming might be that his body has adapted to Sukuna. And his hands are definitely starting to look a lot like what they did when Sukuna was still in his body. There's an awesome clue for this theory in chapter 216, which shows Sukuna's finger after he fought against Yuji. This finger has a little slice mark that some people think is the result of Yuji using a very weak version of Sukuna's cleave or dismantle during their fight. But the main problem is that Sukuna's technique is one of the best kept secrets in Jujutsu Kaisen even up to this day. Sure, it could be cleave, dismantle, or even any other type of slicing attack, but there's just so much that we don't know. But if this happens, Yuji could potentially become the best sorcerer to beat Sukuna. Let me explain with this panel. In chapter 235, when Gojo uses a massive purple against Sukuna that even damages him, we realize that it doesn't hurt him as much because it's his own curse technique, which means that Sukuna would do much less damage to Yuji since they would share the same cursed energy. But doesn't that mean that Yuji would do much less damage to Sukuna as well? Well, not necessarily. Here's the thing, if Yuji manages to use this adaptation combined with techniques there are in Sukuna's, he could do a lot of damage. But for the next theory, I need you to take a look at this. In chapter 214, Sukuna fights Yuji after taking control of Megumi's body and says two very interesting things. The first thing he says is that Yuji is from back then. And the second is that Kenjaku is twisted, probably referring to the connection he has with Yuji. Because of those words and how similar Yuji and Sukuna's original body looks like, a lot of people believe he inherited powers from way back then. I mean, even before eating any of Sukuna's fingers, this guy was already ridiculously strong. So he might have some sort of Jujutsu related heritage that we know nothing about. Okay, now, do you remember how in chapter 220, Chozo gives Yuji Tsukumo's research on the soul? Well, another theory is that he used the time he had before Gojo's fight against Sukuna to unlock his hidden potential with that research. I've even heard some people say that it might give him similar results to when Mahito unlocked his soul's potential with idol transfiguration. And the final theory is not only the most likely one, but also my favorite by far. After Chozo gives Yuji the research, he also tells him that it's fine as long as they go on living as part of you. And he's probably talking about Yuji eating the rest of the death painting womb. Because in the page right before that, Yuji says that he'll eat anything. And considering there are 6 death painting wombs, there could potentially be 6 different curse techniques inside of Yuji right now. I don't know if one of the theories, some of the theories, or all of the theories are going to be true. But keep something in mind. At the end of Bleach, which is the manga that inspired Jujutsu Kaisen, we discover that Ichigo, who is kind of a normal dude, is actually the culmination of several different powers. And I would not be surprised if that was Yuji's case as well. But if you want to know exactly how awesome his fight against Sukuna is going to be, check out this video, which is going to show you exactly that.